How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we're looking at Workhorse and going over a recent interview that the CFO had, and he had some really good answers to a couple questions. I'm going to show you those and then talk about the two important dates that are coming up. And we've talked about one of them before, but there is a second that I think is pretty important that I think you guys should keep on your radar. I'm going to try to keep it short for you guys, but we'll get right into it here with the interview. And if you guys like this kind of thing, please leave a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Also, if you want some free stocks through WeBull, you can use the link down below. If you deposit $100, you can get 2 free stocks worth up to $1,600 each. So let's take a look here.
Who are the biggest clients that are buying the vehicles?
So from our standpoint, we have a backlog of sales orders from UPS and DHL right now. We're talking to a lot of other parties that are looking at orders as well, and we expect more this year. So it's all the parties you would think that are buying these vehicles. It's the UPS, FedEx, DHL, but other smaller fleets as well. And from a standpoint of look at Walmart and Amazon that now have groceries that they want to deliver. So it's again, I think everybody's looking at delivering, and even more so since the pandemic.
So for this business.
So that's something that I think is really important that we've talked about before. There is a backlog of sales that they're looking to fulfill. They do have some big clients too that have some orders already, but they're looking to expand into refrigeration and into some other lines of work that I think are really going to be important for them. Now, just moving on to the next question here.
Enough vehicles. Walk me through where you guys sit in the production process of these vehicles. Is it the tech, the IP that you own for the batteries? Is it the manufacturing that you do? Are you from the beginning, from the design to the production and sale of these vehicles?
So we do it all. And right now we've delivered, basically a handful of vehicles out there, but we have a plan to build and manufacture and deliver 300 to 400 this year. And most of those will come in this quarter right now, and then continue that to maybe 200 a month or so next year. And again, we do it all. We engineer, design, and we manufacture.
So we've talked before about how they might have to move the manufacturing to somewhere else, but there have been some allegations that they are still, hand crafting each of these vehicles, hand assembling, but they are hoping to get to 300 or 400 in the next quarter. So that's going to be really important to keep on the lookout going forward to see how they're able to ramp up, especially if they want to get the USPS contract and they want to be able to fulfill those orders. If they're trying to do any at their own locations, we really need to see it start to ramp up over the coming quarters. So that's going to be something that's really important to keep an eye out for.
Need government grants and support to make these vehicles the most profitable they can be for your business?
No, the bottom line works now. I mean, we have interested parties at the current price that we're offering. It certainly helps, and I think in California there's a $50,000 voucher that we qualify for in the HVIP program. New York also has a voucher similar, about a $40,000 voucher. So that does help parties that immediately in those states want to take advantage of those vouchers and kind of get in real quick and kind of test out the vehicles. But from our standpoint, if you're not in those states and you just want to buy an electric vehicle, and it seems like a lot of parties do right now, our prices, we're not really getting any pushback on our price. So I think from that standpoint, you don't need the rebates. They certainly help.
Okay.
So again, I'm just trying to use this to, shed some more light on the company and not make you have to watch the entire version. But I think that's a great question that he has there, which is, there are a lot of vouchers, there are a lot of incentives for these companies to buy electric, but down the line, when the U.S. maybe doesn't have to push companies to do this as much, will they still want to buy? Does it still make sense for your bottom line without these vouchers and without all these incentives? And Steve Schrader says, yeah, it still makes sense without them. That's their goal, is to make sure that they can still produce these without any extra money from the government, but it's definitely helping their sales. In states like California and states like New York, there are these vouchers that can severely and drastically help the companies that are trying to buy these vehicles, but they're not relying on it. And we hadn't really talked about New York having a voucher program too, but that's pretty big. I mean, New York's a very important state when it comes to last mile delivery. When you think about how many people live there and how close everything is, that is a huge area for these vans. And here's the final one here that I'm going to show you.
The top line revenue, can you give our viewers an example of what they should generally expect? I know that you can find us on some of the earnings reports, but for those that are just seeing the company today, give us an idea what you expect to do over the next year.
I think what I could probably tell you more so is we got a backlog of approximately of about 11 to 1,200 vehicles right now, and that represents about a $70 million revenue stream.
Okay.
So to the extent that we manufacture and deliver those, that $70 million will be coming forward probably sometime in the next 12 months.
Okay, very exciting stuff, Steve. Great to have.
So they have a backlog of about 1,200 vehicles that they've already sold but haven't been able to deliver on. That is a large revenue stream like he talks about. I mean, that's about $70 million. And we've tried to pinpoint exactly how expensive these vehicles are. If you take 70 million, divide it by 12,000, it's about 58,000 per vehicle or so. So that is about what we thought, 55 to 60,000. But just looking at that price to sales ratio, if they're able to fulfill those 1,100 or 1,200 orders next year, we find that their price to sales right now based on their market cap is about 34, which is on the higher end. That's about double what Tesla is, but it's less than some other companies like Shopify. It's got to be lower than those major tech companies that can just grow and scale so easily, but I think that in the 34 range, it's not insane for where that company is right now. So I think that isn't terrible, especially if you consider, okay, if they double it the next year and then double it the year after that, they want to be able to build about 10,000 vehicles a year and add about $60,000. You know, you are looking at a large potential revenue stream down the road and a price to sales ratio that is not too high from where it is now. So what are the important dates coming up? Well, I see two major important dates. First of all, end of the year. We've talked about this the entire time. The end of the year USPS contract is to be announced. Of course, we don't know exactly when it will be announced. It could be before that, but that is an important time. Also, November 13 is an important day to keep in your mind if you're an investor. Now, personally, I don't really care about the Q3 earnings report. I don't think that's really important for the company. I think a lot of it is just scaling and trying to get that USPS contract. I think we're going to see another horrible earnings report, but if we see another bad earnings report, I think the stock could jump down because more people will be worried that they haven't had a lot of earnings or they've barely been able to produce any trucks or whatever comes out. So I would keep that in the back of your mind just so that you aren't surprised if the stock drops drastically after that. But I wouldn't be too worried if they have a bad earnings report if you're an investor, because really we're all waiting for that USPS decision. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys want some free stocks, you can use the link below. I really appreciate all your support on the channel and with Workhorse. Let me know what you're doing with Workhorse down below. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you holding? Are you excited where they're going? Are you excited about all the news that's come out in the last couple of weeks? Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't hit subscribe already, I will see you in the next video. Bye.